Hi, my name's Shota.
And I'm Amber.
And welcome to the Kotatsu Club Podcast.
Where we talk about all things Japanese language and other stuff too.
Yeah. What's up, Amber?
Not much, Shota. How you doing?
I'm good. You know, the weather is finally calming down. And I'm still wearing, t-shirt, but,
I'm wearing a sweater. I'm ready for fall.
Yeah. But, I get hot, easily.
Yeah.
So that's why. But, it's not summer anymore, hopefully. Right? Because Japanese summer, it tends to go
comes and goes, yeah.
And because yesterday it went up to 29, 30 degrees.
It was 35. It was
it wasn't 35
according to my weather app.
Really? But it was hot.
It was hot.
I turned my AC on.
Yeah, it was that hot. Yeah, and I think so. Shota is what we call atsugari, and I'm what we call samugari.
Yeah.
So he's easily hot, and I'm easily cold. So
yeah, no, I went to my dentist the other day.
Yeah.
And they were asking me, "Oh, are you not cold? Are you not cold?" I was like, "Dude, I'm hot. I'm boiling over here. Stop asking me if I'm cold or not. It's all good.
Yeah.
So,
whenever Shota comes over, I turn on the AC, except for today because it's broken.
Yeah, no, it's so nice out. So nice out. Yeah.
So what are we talking about today, Shota?
So today, we're talking about AI because some people argue that because of the AI and all the technology, what's the point of learning language anymore? Not just Japanese, but, but we can talk about Japanese today.
Yeah.
What do you think? So do you think there's less point of learning Japanese? Or do you think there's still solid point of learning Japanese?
I think there's a lot of reasons still to learn the language, but I think there's also a lot of reasons that you might not have to learn it. It depends on what you want to do.
Okay.
So, for example, I think back in the day, people who
back in the day,
before Google Maps, from what I've heard, it was much harder to get around.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
As someone who didn't speak Japanese than it is today, when you can easily get Google Maps instructions on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe, whereas traveling was once an incentive for learning a language, maybe it's not anymore. I still think there are incentives, but I think some incentives might have been kind of lessened. I think I have some friends in Japan who don't read Japanese, and when they go to the store, they just pull out their phone and they have a camera. The Google Translate app, they can just take a picture, or not even take a picture, they just hover their phone over it, and then it shows the translation.
Yeah, okay.
So buying food, they no longer is no longer an incentive.
Right.
What other
technology is getting good enough, it can be incorporated into daily life without problem.
Yeah. So I think for maybe daily life things. Oh, sorry. I'm playing with my Tamagotchi if you guys are wondering what I was doing.
She's addicted.
It's my child.
Right.
I'm a mom now.
Mm-hmm.
But yes.
Right.
So yeah, what do you think? Are there...
like you said, I think it depends on what you want to do. Because for me, right, I enjoy speaking to people in English, that on its own is enough incentive for me to keep learning English. So for me, AI is so good now that, why don't you just use ChatGPT to talk to Amber? No.
Imagine we're using ChatGPT to do this whole podcast.
Yeah, tell Amber, stop playing with Tamagotchi. So yeah, for me, right, I started to learn English because I wanted to talk to people, right? So it makes no sense for me to voluntarily take that away from myself.
Right. Yeah,
you know what
same.
I mean? Also, it's gonna come out a little bit harsh, but if you don't know how good it feels to be able to communicate, in a foreign language, then how would you know if it's replaceable with an AI?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't think I said it well, but...
Yeah, but I also think that's because we like learning about other cultures and languages.
Yeah.
That might not necessarily be for everyone.
Right. So I think if you don't see any value in that, I feel like a lot of viewers of this podcast...
Yeah, they probably want to speak Japanese and connect with people. Yeah, so if you watch this, you're probably one of the cool ones. But... Yeah, I think something that scares me, not scares me, but...
What scares you?
So you know how like they're making the chip that goes in your brain? Was it Elon Musk who's doing that?
Right.
So if we have this computer chip in our brain that makes us able to like speak any language, we wasted like 20 years learning English and Japanese.
So when I first started out,
Yeah.
like I thought about this like hypothetical scenario where like, what if I wake up tomorrow and like become fluent in English?
Yeah.
You know? And now I have become somewhat fluent in English.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Yeah.
You know, not even the process to become fluent.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I enjoyed, and like I know like a lot of you can relate to this, but like journey is enjoyable.
Yeah, the journey's the progress.
Yeah, it's life experience, you know?
For sure. But what if they do make this chip?
Right.
And now, like, I can just download Russian. I can just download, I don't know, any language.
Would you?
Yeah, I think I would.
Okay.
Because, like, yeah, I'd like to be able to speak more languages. I think for me right now, like, I want to be fluent in Japanese. So, like, I spent all my time studying Japanese.
Right.
But I would love to, like, reclaim my culture and be fluent in like Italian too. So if I could like while I'm studying Japanese download Italian,
okay,
I feel like that would be great.
Yeah,
the journey's rewarding for sure, but like I don't know, I could practice writing kanji instead of like spending all my time on grammar and speaking, you know.
No, I hear you. So
save time.
I always use this, not really an analogy, it's more like a personal experience.
Yeah.
But there was this guy named Fabian.
Okay.
Hi, Fabian, if you're watching. So he went to international school. He's Japanese.
Okay.
He went to international school in Tokyo.
Okay.
Right? So he grew up speaking in English. In Japan, right? And then he studied abroad in California, where I studied at the same time.
Okay.
Right? He wasn't able to keep up with the conversation because like he had no idea who Snoop Dogg was. He had no idea who K Dot was.
Okay.
You know, like he had no idea the
cultural references.
The cultural references.
Yeah.
So if the cultural knowledge and references come with that chip, I'm all in.
Okay.
But if it's just language on its own, then I would rather like learn on myself.
Yeah.
While I enjoy the culture of Russian.
Another argument might be like, okay, so if you download the language and it doesn't come with the cultural knowledge.
It doesn't? Okay.
You can now get the cultural knowledge easier and faster. Because I understand Japanese fluently now. I can watch any TV show, listen to any podcast without struggling, without only understanding 80%. So now my cultural knowledge is even stronger.
That's a valid argument.
I would say the thing you lose is you lose the journey and like the hard work that goes into studying language and like the dedication. It's rewarding in and of itself. So I would say you lose that. But I do think it would be worth it, to be honest, like for the time saving.
It's going to speed up the process of learning the culture and understanding the reference.
It would change the world, like if that comes out.
It would change the world.
Do you think that it's going to come out? Do you think it's
eventually? Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I think it's going to be a thing.
So, for example, now that internet has been around for a few decades now,
right?
Reading books, going to library and things like that, doing looking things up manually has become more like a hobby.
Right.
That's something people do for enjoyment.
Right.
I think it's going to be like that.
Yeah, I think that makes a
not
lot
out
of
necessity.
Yeah, which actually I think that makes it even better. Like
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that's good.
So learning language would never go away.
For sure.
Almost like reading book has never been going away.
That's true. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
What are some other things that have become like not necessary to learn the language anymore? So we said travel, like getting around.
Right, like ordering food.
Shopping in stores, like being able to read ingredient labels. Is there anything else?
Okay, maybe like 10 years down the line, maybe we will have like, I don't know, like a headset that...
Yeah.
Do we now? Do we already?
Do, but like it's not like good. It's as good as
Let's
like
say it's
Google
good.
Translate.
Let's say it's like this,
yeah.
right? We can have a conversation like this. Do you think it's gonna be satisfying enough? Can it satisfy us? Would you be able to have in-depth conversations with people that you care about?
Yeah, I think if anything, it just removes the language barrier.
Okay.
What do you think?
So, you know, the other day you said I climb Tokyo Tower and you corrected yourself. I was like, oh, this is such a like Japanese of me. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because that's how you would say in Japanese. So like these like nuances and like cultural knowledge, you wouldn't be able to exchange well through technology, no matter how advanced it is. So I think there will always be space for...
I wonder. I think it might. Like
It might. Okay. So the level of technology gets there.
Yeah.
Like understands the context and cultural reference enough to like pick up on these like micro nuances. So far it doesn't, I know, because I work in AI.
Yeah.
But if it does, then yeah, I'm all
that
for
would
it.
be so cool. But at the same time, I feel like if it does happen in my lifetime, I'll be like, damn, I spent 20 years of hard work, and these kids these days, they just download a chip, like download the language.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there are things that you can only learn through manually learning a language. You know, like I agree with you on if we're able to download Russian, you know, that's gonna speed up the process of learning the culture. But like at the same time, you would learn things through learning, in the process of learning. So like I learned to cuss, you know, and you know, I got slapped once, right? It was like, I remember what to say, what not to say in a certain situation because of that. You know, don't slap nobody, but like, I'm just like saying as an example.
A little crazy that you got slapped.
Yeah, that's crazy, you know. But like,
I also think it's funny that you say cuss, because in New York we say curse. I think it's a Michigan thing, cuss.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that's what everybody said.
No, I think probably Cree says cuss, I would guess.
But wouldn't you say like something like, oh, he would like cuss you out?
We said curse.
Curse you, okay. But you know, so like having these conversations will be difficult.
Right, that is true. It is always changing, so it would have to be like very updated, and it would have to be like very like it's different locally, right? Like if you go to different regions of Japan, there's different ways of speaking. Like
so okay, so if you can download Japanese,
would you download Ehime Ben?
I would, but nobody else would, right? Because if you were from like, I don't know, like southern states, you probably wouldn't want to talk like someone from California, New York. And, you know, you're from New York, right? And you speak like someone from New York.
Yeah. You know what's funny? When we were in Austin, Texas, like me and my cousin, literally everyone we met was like, oh, you guys are from New York. We're like, what gave it away?
You know, but like, would you change that about yourself? I think being from New York is like a big part of identity. But like, would you want like other people to download like New York accent?
Yeah, like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's like a little weird. Like,
but without what it means to be from New York. But they sound someone from New York. They sound like someone from New York.
Huh, I wonder. I mean, I wouldn't get mad by that.
Right. So like, I feel like that level of authenticity, like really like replace, or if you could, it's gonna be like really difficult to do.
Yeah. That would be so funny if you could download different accents.
Oh, you know, Siri does different accents.
Oh, really?
You know that, right?
Oh yeah.
So Siri can do American, male, female. It can do Australian, Irish, British, Indian.
Mine is Japanese. My Siri, does it do Ehime Ben?
Does it?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Japanese is only Japanese male, female. Yeah. But did you know that Japanese Siri, so the female voice, so voice, it's got a name. I think it was Kyoko or something.
What's that?
So you're talking to Kyoko.
Hey Shiri.
はい。
名前は何ですか？
私はシリと申します。よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。
いや、無理でしょう。
無理。I got ghosted. She just shut off on
I was
me.
like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. But so yeah, I think me being from Shikoku, it's not like a huge part of identity, but it's definitely part of my identity. So I don't know.
It's not a huge part of your identity?
I don't think so. I'm a creative person. I'm a physically active person. I'm a sexy dude, I think there are like a lot of words for me to describe myself. So I feel like for me, like being from Shikoku is just like, just not tiny, but like, it's not like a major part of identity.
You're saying there's not a lot of words that I can describe myself in.
When did I say that?
You said being from New York is a big part of your identity.
No, but like, I feel like there are a lot more for you to talk about. You know what I mean?
So do you think if you were from Tokyo, you would be a big part of your personality?
I feel like that would be Kansai in Japan. Especially people from Kansai, when they live outside of Kansai.
Yeah.
That's like, they talk about that a lot. Because I don't know why, but like I think everybody knows about Kansai. Yeah. Everybody knows what they're like.
Yeah.
They think they do, So I think it's easier for people from like well-known parts of the world to talk about themselves as part of the region. Whereas for me, like I know like average people in Tokyo would know like what we're like.
Yeah.
So I talk about it with you because you lived in Shikoku.
Yeah.
So like that's what we have in common. But like I don't want like random people to walk around with my accent. You know what I mean? Because what it takes away is that, so on the train, I'm like, when I hear my accent, I'll be like, you're from Shikoku as well?
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, right? Because it's rare to see people from Shikoku. But then if they can just like download that, I don't know how it feels.
It's interesting. I wouldn't mind if people could download the New York accent. The New York accent's actually dying. So my parents' generation...
You want to repopulate?
We need to bring it back. My parents' generation is kind of like the last generation that has it, because this generation, more people went to college and kind of became like, our accent kind of got lost, and now we just speak like standard English. So if you like listen to my parents, they have such thick New York accents. They sound like they're from like The Godfather. And then when people hear me, they're like, how come you don't have the accent? I literally got this question in Texas the other day. So my cousin, he has a lot of friends who are American, but like not necessarily. Actually, the person I was talking to was Canadian.
Okay.
And he was like, how come you don't like sound like your family? It's like a lot of people in our generation, it's dying.
How come?
I think I was like teased for it in college, and I just like got insecure about it.
Where'd you go to college?
I was in New York, but I was in Manhattan, where it's like very international. So like I wasn't around any other New Yorkers. Like I was the only one.
Wait, so you went to school in Manhattan and you were teased
for having a New York accent?
Having New York accent?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I was literally the only like New Yorker there. Everyone else was like from Chicago and stuff. What? I think the New York accent kind of sounds like not intelligent to people. A lot of people think it sounds like rough. And
okay.
Do you have any accents like that in Japan that are considered like...
Well, Kansai for sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Kansai Ben sounds like less sophisticated, less intelligent.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, I think New York has that kind of... That's probably why I stopped talking like that, because I was sick of people just judging me based off of when they would first hear me speak.
Okay. Yeah, that's wild. So, who migrated to New York? Your grandparents?
Great-grandparents.
Great-grandparents.
Yeah.
So, your family's... How many generations? 3 generations?
I'm the 3rd generation.
Right. So you know how it is in Tokyo.
Yeah.
People don't consider me from Tokyo. I've been living in Tokyo this is my living in Tokyo. But like, I would never say I'm from Tokyo.
Yeah.
Because in Tokyo, if your family has been in Tokyo for 3 generations, then you're considered you're from Tokyo.
Okay.
Is there like similar thing in New York? So for example, if I had moved to New York 15 years ago, and now, like, would I be considered someone from New York or not?
No. Yeah, you have to be born there.
You have to be born there.
But you don't have to be 3 generations. Like, just being born there is enough.
Oh, okay.
So maybe it's a little different than Tokyo.
Okay.
But
what if you grew up there?
Different.
Different?
Yeah.
So you had to be born there?
Yeah.
Okay. Does that up to other parts of the States?
I don't know. You would probably know better than me.
Because I feel like in California,
Yeah.
if you spend a little bit of time there,
Yeah.
like, yeah, you know, like...
But where you're from is like your shushin, like...
Right.
So you would say you're from California?
No, but then, okay, for example, if you were born in Lebanon,
yeah,
but you moved to California when you were like 3, like all you remember is the time in California.
Right.
Like, of course you would consider yourself you're from California, no?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Well, it's different. It's hard, like, where you draw the line.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
I think in general if you've been in New York a while, you definitely have some more credit than if you've just been there like 1 or 2 years.
Okay.
I think people would more be like, oh, okay, he kind of gets what's going on here. Yeah, it's so interesting to think about. I really didn't realize how strong the New York culture was until I came to Japan.
Okay.
And like I stepped outside of it and like kind of lost that identity because you go from being a New Yorker to being an American when I moved to Japan. Yeah, I think that's not even just for New York. I think all the parts of the US maybe have a strong identity. Like they really... Do you think it's specifically New York and California?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's definitely, I feel like that in Japan.
But it's better than like what it is in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Because no matter how hard you try to understand, like you will never be... Well, I mean, not that we want to.
Yeah.
But...
That's so interesting. Yeah, I definitely know like my boyfriend. So he's like Zuto Tokyo.
Oh, really?
So like his like name, his last name is like the same name as like an area in Tokyo where his family's from.
Oh.
So like they've like never left Tokyo.
Okay, so they never left
like
Tokyo.
They were in Edo.
Right.
And I know that's something he's proud of. Like he definitely like when he like meets people.
Okay.
Like it comes up in conversation. It's like
But sometimes it becomes a little too much. You know what I mean?
I think so too. Even with New Yorkers, it's definitely like becomes almost pretentious.
But that's like a known stereotype about people from New York. But like
Tokyo doesn't have the same stereotype. I thought they were like known as sumita.
Okay, so here's what I think, right?
Yeah.
So if you're like actually from Tokyo, you don't really talk about it. For example, so my friend Thomas, he's from Tokyo. His nickname is Tokyo because he spends so much time in Tokyo, you know. He says, like, I wish I had an accent like you because it's kind of cool to have an accent. I'm like, huh. And then a lot of people from Tokyo, like born and raised in Tokyo, like they tell me the same thing.
I kind of agree. Like whenever I meet someone who's from Tokyo, I'm just like, oh. Whenever I meet someone who's like from Kochi, I'm like, oh my god, you're from Kochi.
Yeah, but then like, you know, someone who came to Tokyo was like, oh, that's cool that like you are like deep rooted in this area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have a connection, you know?
Yeah.
So, I guess.
I don't know. It's very interesting. It's like the perception of like where you're from changes like based on where you are now.
Yeah.
And also what era it is.
Yeah.
Who you're talking to.
But I think you know, both Tokyo and New York have in common is that everybody can go there to find a community.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
I mean, I can only speak for Tokyo, but
it's the
like,
same in New
you know,
York.
like I have my own community, you know, like I have, you know, I feel like I belong here. I feel like Tokyo is more like a platform. You know what I mean?
What do you mean? No.
Like, it's a city.
Yeah.
But then, you know, like when you
mean
live
networking? Like networking?
Well, yeah, that too. But like, Tokyo is where you can be anybody.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess New York has that same kind of thing.
Right? It's a big city thing because really nobody is from here.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people are like actually from here. So like, okay, so, you know, whoever you want to become, you know, you can be here. You know?
Yeah. New York has that thing too.
Yeah.
It's so funny whenever like I would meet people in New York, they'd be like, where are you from? And I'd be like, here. And they'd be like, no, where are you really from? I'm like, no, I'm really from New York.
Yeah.
Did you get those same questions over and over when you lived in the US? Like where people
do you
always
mean?
like, oh, like, why are you here in Michigan? Like, because I get the same questions over and over in Japan. Why are you here? how long are you here for?
Oh, so like, where you from? How long have you been here?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing here?
It's literally the same.
But probably not what are you doing here, because I guess in America it's different. Like whenever people see me, like they don't question, dude, like what are you doing here? You know what I mean? Because like everybody can exist in America. I mean, everybody can exist in Japan too. But like like for example, places like Shikoku.
Yeah.
You're like super rare commodity. I'm like,
what are you doing?
Like, what are you doing here? Are you
but
okay?
Like Michigan is like that too, no?
Yeah, I guess so. But then like that was my first year. Like it was. I'm just I just
Wyoming
goes to the local high school here. Exchange. Well, Wyoming. I went to college there, so that was different, right? Because it's pretty international.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Laramie, Wyoming.
Okay.
Because the University of Wyoming is known for petroleum engineering program.
Right.
So a lot of people from Middle East, a lot of people from Africa, Asia. So yeah, I didn't feel like that in Laramie, Wyoming. But Michigan, maybe. But that was my first year, so like I was excited to answer. Oh yeah, I'm from Japan. Like, have you met somebody from Japan? Guess not.
Guess not. Yeah. I'm your first.
Yeah, I'm your first Japanese encounter. And you're my first American encounter. So that was pretty cool. My first year. So
for sure. But should we move on to?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I feel like in this episode I'm going to sound like such a pretentious New Yorker. I'm sorry, other Americans.
But you are. I'm just kidding. Where am I?
Feed my Tamagotchi while you're
Yeah. No, I pulled up already.
Damn, it's fast.
Okay, so you did such a great job last time. This one might be...
a little harder?
No, as easy.
As easy? Okay.
Yeah. So, okay.
はい。
Ready?
行きましょう。
レストランなどの店で料理を全部食べることができないことがあります。店は残った食べ物などを1年に200万トン以上捨てています。国は残った食べ物を客が持って帰る時のルールを考えています。ルールでは残った食べ物は客が自分で入れ物に入れます。手袋を使ったり、手をきれいにしてから入れます。店には手袋や入れ物などを用意してほしいと言っています。自分で食べていた料理は安全のため自分で食べるようにします。国は今年の終わりまでにルールを作る予定です。そして2025年度から始めたいと考えています。以上です。
Okay, so I don't think I understood 100% like I did on the last one.
Okay, that's fair.
But so it's about food waste.
Food waste, yeah.
And it seems there's going to be a new law made.
Right. It just says rule.
Or rule made.
Yeah, rule.
Where people need to bring their own, I guess, bags or boxes.
Container, yeah.
And then, like, restaurants have to start, like, allowing people to take food home. What else? That's all I got.
I mean, that's pretty much it, right? So, how... I think in Japan, what's the word I'm looking for? Are you yawning?
Yeah, sorry, I'm tired.
Oh my god.
I'm jet lagged. I just got back from the US.
Yeah, we just ate too.
Yeah, we just had lunch.
What's the word I'm looking for? Cross-contamination?
Yeah.
Law is maybe a bit stricter.
Oh, really?
I'm not for sure. But then that's what... Because it's not a thing in Japan.
Oh.
Right? To take back what you were eating at a restaurant.
Yes, yeah.
So, not a lot of, like, restaurants provide like containers and whatnot. So the federal government is asking like restaurant establishments to provide containers and like gloves.
Oh, gloves.
Like surgical gloves.
Plastic gloves.
Plastic gloves to do that so that the food is safe. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
how much was the food waste? Something tons. I didn't.
200万トン. That's 2 million tons.
やばい.
やばいね.
So every year.
Yeah. So food waste, especially like in Japan, it's such a like eating out culture.
Yeah.
With like stricter food safety law.
Yeah. I wonder though, like, is the food waste that people are not eating like everything on their dish? Because I feel like in Japan we have such a culture of eating everything on your dish that like I don't have anything to take home.
Are you talking about like portion size?
Yeah.
If it's like Yoshinoya, like a beef bowl place that you go on your own.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a lot of food waste, left behind. But then if it's like nomikai, not, a lot of people drink and not a lot of people like finish their food.
I see.
Because it's not like their food, it's like shared food, on the bigger plates. So I think that accumulates, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So yeah, I think the country is like trying to place a measure to, fix that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I think they're gonna relax the rules a little
Something
bit.
that was like so noticeable to me when I went to the US was like the amount of food waste. Like I see it was so much higher there. Just like
I thought Americans are like more conscious.
Oh, really?
From my perspective.
I think we do take home food. So like for me, I wasn't able to finish my meals in the US because the portions are so much bigger.
Right.
But I could take it home and like eat it.
Yeah. That's like the best part not best part of living in America, there are better things about America. But like that's one of the like the good things about, living in America.
Yeah, I had so many reverse culture shocks. Maybe we could talk about it on the next episode.
Yeah, sure.
I really enjoyed going back to the US. I had fun in Texas. First time in Texas.
Yeah.
Should we go into our question for the day?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so here's a question.
Yeah, what's up?
So, as someone who is just starting Japanese, how long is it going to take before I can have conversations, like, just about?
But, like, what conversation?
I don't know. I think just,
Like, are they talking about Hitler or are they talking about, like, the weather?
I mean, if they're coming from a beginner's, like, perspective,
true.
they probably just want to know when they can start, like, talking to people and, like, making sense. And like having exchanges. For me, I think it took like a good 2 years before I could have conversations. Like I think the first 2 years you're just kind of building your vocabulary, building your grammar, building your confidence, learning to read. Yeah, and basically you could just kind of introduce yourself. You could only do Jiko Shokai, I think.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know what constitute a conversation, but if like communicating counts as...
I think that's different.
But like what constitutes conversation? Like with like a grammatical structure? Because for me, like I was communicating from the day one, right? Because I was literally sent to Michigan.
To people.
I was talking to people and was like, oh, food? Yeah, like me. Food now.
I think they mean like sentences. They want to know when they could like be making sentences, receiving and understanding sentences.
Maybe like a couple months in for me.
Really?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Like, of course, like I was making a lot of mistakes and I didn't understand a lot of things.
Right.
But maybe like a couple months in, I was understanding maybe like 20 to 30% of what's been said. And I was able to respond with like somewhat formed sentences. So yeah, I would say for me, a couple months.
Okay. I think you also had foundational knowledge of English already. Like
I didn't know.
You knew you knew the alphabet, like you knew.
Yeah.
You had some exposure to the language.
Like I knew a couple words. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this person like doesn't like they're just starting out, so they probably like didn't learn they're probably learning hiragana.
I don't want this person to wait for a year, but I think realistically speaking, about like a year, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Takes time. I think confidence is also like a big issue. Depends how confident you are.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, if the receiving end of the person is like patient enough, then you can literally start having conversation from like a day one or like week one.
Yeah.
But like nobody's that patient. That's
no
the problem, right?
Patient.
So that's why it takes like courage, and I think I was lucky in the sense that it was necessary for me to be able to communicate in English like from the moment I touched down in Michigan.
We need to make like a Japanese only speaking like bubble like camp.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
So like
because I can't emphasize enough that environment in which you choose to be in is like extremely important factor for your growth. You need a lot of exposure.
Yeah, we'll just hire a bunch of like old people who don't speak English to work at the camp.
I mean, honestly, I would think a lot of like old people will be like down.
Yeah, they'd be
that.
down.
Yeah,
right? I feel like
yeah. No, I know some like cool old people.
Me too.
You know, that are like they have like time.
Yeah, and they're like, all right, yeah.
Yeah, you know,
camp?
yeah, bring them in. You know,
bring them in.
Yeah, this person. Where is this person from? You don't know.
Probably an English-speaking country. I mean, the message was in English, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, like if you're trying to come to Japan, like if possible, go to rural areas.
Yes,
like
definitely.
Michigan equivalent.
Honestly, just go anywhere that's not Tokyo.
like, sure.
Yeah, I spoke so much more Japanese when I lived in Kyoto, even then.
Right, because you're not trying to practice Japanese. You speak Japanese because it's necessary to do so. So I mean that's the best case scenario, right?
Yeah. Tokyo.
Not Tokyo. You don't need English, you know.
Japanese.
Japanese.
You need either English or Japanese.
Yeah.
So if you're coming from a country like and you don't speak English or Japanese, choose one. Probably English because people are going to speak to you in English whether you like it or not.
Yeah. True. Yeah. Also, I mean, you know, a lot of people speak English. If you're like coming from outside of Japan, you know.
Sometimes they don't. I had like a German friend who moved to Japan and she said before she lived here, she didn't speak any English or she just wasn't good at English. And then she had to become good at it because everyone would speak to her.
You know, I heard like so many stories like that, you know, like they came to Japan, but then they found themselves in a situation where, you know, they're just like a group of international bunch, so that like the lingua franca is English. So like they became better at speaking English. Yeah. You know.
Come to Japan if you want to learn
study English.
All right, well I think that's it for today, right?
All right, yep.
All right, well, thanks for tuning in, guys.
All right.
Send us an email at kotatsuklubbpodcast@gmail.com with any of your questions, and we'll see you next time.
All right. See you guys next time.
Bye. Bye.